Welcome to the channel. Today, we're stepping into a world of steam, steel, and innovation, the National Railway Museum in York, England. This is the largest railway museum in the world and home to legendary trains like Mallard and the Flying Scotsman. In this video, we'll explore its history, iconic locomotives, royal carriages, human stories, and why this museum matters today. So sit back, relax, and let's begin our journey. The history of the National Railway Museum does not begin in 1975, when it officially opened. Its story actually stretches back to the early 1900s. At that time, steam locomotives and railway technology were developing rapidly, and older engines were being retired and scrapped. However, some railway engineers, historians, and enthusiasts believed that important locomotives and carriages should be kept for future generations instead of being destroyed. This idea was the beginning of railway preservation in Britain. In the 1920s, the London and North Eastern Railway, one of the major railway companies in Britain, began saving historic locomotives and railway objects. By 1927, a small public railway museum was opened in York to display some of these preserved engines and artifacts. York was chosen because it was one of the most important railway cities in the country. It stood at a key junction where trains from London met lines going to Scotland, the Midlands, and the north of England. York had large railway workshops, depots, and a strong railway community, which made it the ideal place to store and display historic trains. When Britain's railways were nationalized in 1948 and became British Railways, plans for a proper national museum began to take shape. In the 1950s and 1960s, railway preservation became more organized, but this was also a time when many rail lines were being closed and old trains were being removed from service. This made it even more important to protect what was left of railway history. In 1968, the government agreed that a National Railway Museum should be created, and York was officially chosen as its home. An old locomotive depot near York Railway Station was selected as the site. This location had real railway heritage. It was where engines had once been repaired, stored, and prepared for service. Transforming it into a museum meant that history would remain connected to the place where it actually happened. Finally, in September 1975, the National Railway Museum opened to the public. It became the first national museum in Britain to be located outside London. From the beginning, it brought together historic locomotives, royal carriages, railway tools, uniforms, signals, posters, and thousands of other objects from across the country. Many of these items had been stored in different railway depots, small museums, or company archives for decades. Over the years, the museum continued to grow. New exhibition halls were added. Restoration workshops were created where old locomotives could be repaired and brought back to working condition. The museum also became part of the Science Museum Group, which helped protect and care for its collections in a professional way. Today, the National Railway Museum in York holds over 1 million objects, from full-size locomotives to tiny railway tickets. It preserves the story of how railways changed travel, industry, communication, and everyday life. What makes it special is that it isn't just a building full of trains. It is built on real railway ground, in a city shaped by the railway, and it continues to share that history with people from all around the world. The National Air and Space Museum quickly became one of the most visited museums in the world after its opening in 1976. Its massive glass and steel structure was designed to display large aircraft and spacecraft, making it unlike any other museum. The museum became a symbol of innovation, exploration, and human ambition. Its collection includes famous artifacts like the Wright brothers flyer, the Spirit of St. Louis, and the Apollo 11 command module, Columbia, which carried astronauts to the moon. Every piece tells a story of courage, science, and the dream to conquer the skies and reach beyond Earth. But the museum is more than just a building with exhibits. It is a place of inspiration where students, families, scientists, and dreamers come to learn how far humanity has come and how much further it can go. As the years passed, the museum's collection continued to grow, and so did its visitors. To meet this demand, the Smithsonian Institution opened a second location in 2003, the Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia. This new facility provided the space needed to display larger aircraft and spacecraft that could not fit in the main building. At the Udvar-Hazy Center, visitors can see remarkable icons like the Space Shuttle Discovery, the Enola Gay, and the SR-71 Blackbird. The center also features observation towers, restoration hangars, and educational programs that bring aviation history to life. In recent years, the original museum in Washington, D.C. began a major renovation project to update its exhibits, improve technology, and make the visitor experience more interactive. The goal is to preserve the past while inspiring the future. The National Railway Museum is home to some of the most legendary locomotives in the world, each one telling a powerful story of innovation, ambition, and human achievement. One of the museum's most famous stars is the Mallard, a sleek, blue steam locomotive built in 1938 by the London and North Eastern Railway, LNER. On July 3, 1938, it set the world speed record for steam engines 126 miles per hour, 203 kilometers per hour, a record that has never been broken. Standing in front of it feels like looking at the Formula One car of its time. Engineered for speed and glory. Another legendary engine is the Flying Scotsman, often called the most famous steam train in the world. Built in 1923, it was the first locomotive officially recorded to reach 100 miles per hour. It symbolized luxury travel between London and Edinburgh, featuring dining cars, sleeping cabins, and an aura of elegance that captivated generations. The Flying Scotsman still runs on special heritage journeys and remains a global icon. The museum also houses Stephenson's rocket, a replica of the pioneering 1829 locomotive designed by George and Robert Stephenson. The rocket revolutionized early railway design with its innovative boiler and multi-tube system, proving steam locomotives could be fast, reliable, and commercially successful. Other key exhibits include Evening Star, the last steam locomotive ever built for British Railways in 1960, Duchess of Hamilton, a striking, Art Deco streamlined locomotive known for its bold red and gold design. Japanese Shinkansen bullet train cab, representing the future of high-speed rail. These engines are not just machines, they are milestones in human history. Each one represents a leap forward in engineering, transport, and the modern world, while the locomotives are the stars of the museum. The story of the railway would be incomplete without the people who made it all work. The National Railway Museum beautifully highlights the lives of the men and women who built, operated, and maintained the railway network. In the early days of steam, railway work was physically demanding and often dangerous. Engine drivers and firemen worked in intense heat on the footplate, shoveling tons of coal into the firebox to keep the engine running. Their faces were darkened by smoke and coal dust, and their ears were filled with the constant roar of steam and iron. Yet, they were respected for their bravery, skill, and quick decision-making on the tracks. Signalmen worked inside small wooden cabins beside the tracks, surrounded by large levers, bells, and telegraph systems. Their job was to control train movements and prevent collisions. A single mistake could lead to disaster. The museum has recreated historic signal boxes, where visitors can try operating the levers themselves. Station masters were the heartbeat of each railway station. Dressed in polished uniforms and hats, they managed everything from ticket sales and staff schedules to lost luggage and emergencies. They were well-respected members of their communities and often lived in houses near the station with their families. Then there were the track workers, known as navvies. In the early 19th century, these laborers dug tunnels, laid tracks, and built bridges, often with nothing more than shovels and pickaxes. Their work was backbreaking and dangerous, but essential for expanding the railway across Britain's countryside. The museum also showcases the lives of railway women telegraph operators, ticket clerks, nurses, and locomotive cleaners, especially during the World Wars, when many men went to fight and women took charge of stations and workshops. Daily railway operations involved timetables and ticketing systems that synchronized clocks across the country, workshops and depots where locomotives were repaired and maintained, dining cars and sleeper trains for long-distance comfort and luxury, mail trains which sorted letters while traveling overnight, through uniforms, tools, diaries, and recreated scenes. The museum brings these stories to life, showing that the railway was not just made of steel and steam, but of human dedication and sacrifice. The National Railway Museum is not just a collection of trains, it is a beautifully designed space that reflects the evolution of railway architecture itself. Spread over more than 20 acres, the museum is divided into several key areas, each designed to showcase different aspects of railway history in a realistic and engaging way. The Great Hall is the heart of the museum. Once a working engine shed next to York Railway Station, it has been transformed into a vast exhibition space with high ceilings, iron beams, and railway tracks still embedded in the floor. This hall displays some of the largest locomotives, including the Mallard, the Japanese Shinkansen nose section, and the Eurostar power car. Interactive turntables allow engines to be rotated just like they were in real depots, and overhead walkways provide visitors with unique views from above. This hall is located in the former York North Motive Power Depot. It has been designed to look like a vintage railway station from the golden age of train travel. There are full-size platforms, original station signs, signal lamps, luggage carts, and even old-fashioned benches. Locomotives are displayed with their historic carriages, such as Queen Victoria's Royal Train, Edwardian dining cars, and World War II ambulance trains. The atmosphere feels like stepping back in time, with soft lighting and the scent of polished wood and leather. These outdoor and semi-covered areas house smaller exhibits, maintenance equipment, and working engines. Visitors can see live restoration projects, where engineers and volunteers repair historic trains using original techniques. Steam engines occasionally come to life here, releasing smoke and whistles. creating an authentic sensory experience. Behind large glass windows, visitors can watch skilled engineers at work. Locomotives like the Flying Scotsman and Sir Nigel Gresley are often repaired here. Every rivet, brushstroke, and wheel alignment is done with precision to preserve historical accuracy. Not all treasures are on display. A massive storage area holds thousands of railway objects: station clocks, uniforms, nameplates, maps, telegraph machines, lanterns, signs, and tools. These are preserved under controlled temperature and humidity to protect them for future generations. The museum includes classrooms, theaters, and digital learning labs, where workshops, lectures, and interactive sessions are held. Schools, historians, and train enthusiasts often gather here to learn about engineering, design, and history. Outside the main building is a peaceful garden and a small miniature railway ride for families and children. This feature allows visitors to enjoy a real train journey, even if it's in miniature form, complete with signals and tracks. The architecture of the museum is a balance of industrial heritage and modern design. It keeps the charm of old railway buildings while adding glass roofs, climate-controlled galleries, elevators, and visitor-friendly pathways. Every brick and beam tells the story of Britain's railway past, preserved for future generations. The National Railway Museum is not just about trains as objects. It is also about the engineering, technology, and innovation that made them possible. Walking through the museum, visitors can see the evolution of railway design from early steam engines to modern high-speed trains and understand the breakthroughs that transformed transportation. In the early 19th century, engineers like George and Robert Stephenson revolutionized train travel. Their locomotive, the Rocket, introduced a multi-tube boiler and efficient steam system, proving that railways could be fast, reliable, and commercially viable. The museum houses a replica of this iconic engine, allowing visitors to see how simple design changes could have such a massive impact on speed and performance. Steam locomotives were marvels of mechanical engineering. Massive boilers, pistons, wheels, and valve gear all worked in harmony to convert steam pressure into motion. The museum explains these mechanisms through diagrams, interactive displays, and real-life examples. Visitors can watch how pistons move, how wheels turn on rails, and how engineers controlled power and speed, diesel and electric. Trains introduced a new level of efficiency and reliability. Exhibits like diesel-electric locomotives and early electric multiple units demonstrate how electricity replaced coal as a source of power. The museum shows how transformers, motors, and control systems allowed trains to run faster, cleaner, and with less maintenance. Modern high-speed trains, like the Shinkansen and Eurostar, are also part of the collection. These trains illustrate cutting-edge aerodynamics, lightweight materials, and advanced braking systems. Visitors can compare the size, speed, and technology of a 19th-century engine with a 21st-century bullet train, gaining a sense of the incredible progress made over 2 centuries. The museum also highlights railway innovations beyond engines, signaling systems, telegraph communication, railway bridges, and track engineering. For example, the display of signal boxes and levers shows how operators controlled train movements safely. Long before computers existed, bridges and viaduct models demonstrate how engineering overcame natural obstacles like rivers, valleys, and mountains. Restoration workshops provide another insight into technology. Skilled engineers use historical tools and techniques to repair locomotives, maintaining authenticity while applying modern safety standards. Visitors can watch the careful alignment of wheels, the riveting of boiler plates, and the polishing of brass fittings, giving a sense of both craftsmanship and scientific precision. By exploring these technological achievements, the museum illustrates that railways were not just about transportation, they were a driving force in industrialization, urban growth, and modern engineering. Each locomotive, carriage, and signal tells a story of creativity, problem-solving, and human ingenuity. The National Railway Museum is designed to be more than just a display of trains. It is an immersive experience that allows visitors to step into the world of railways and feel the power, scale, and excitement of train travel. From the moment you enter, the museum captures your attention with the sheer size of its locomotives and carriages. The Great Hall and Station Hall are arranged to allow close-up views of engines, turning tables, and historic rolling stock. Visitors can walk alongside the Mallard, Flying Scotsman, and other iconic locomotives, examining the intricate details of wheels, boilers, and name. The scale of these machines often leaves people in awe. Interactive exhibits bring railway technology and history to life. In recreated signal boxes, visitors can try operating levers and understand how railway traffic was safely controlled. Hands-on displays explain how steam engines work, how electricity powers trains, and how modern trains achieve high speeds. Children and adults alike can engage with touchscreens, mechanical demonstrations, and model railways that illustrate complex concepts in a fun and educational way. For families, the museum has areas designed specifically for children. The miniature railway ride allows young visitors to experience a train journey, complete with signals and tracks, while interactive storytelling and games teach about railway history. School groups often participate in workshops where they build small models, learn about engineering, and explore careers in transport. Guided tours and audio guides add context to the exhibits, telling the stories behind each locomotive, carriage, and object. Visitors can learn about the people who built and operated the railways, the challenges of early railway engineering, and the milestones that changed travel forever. Special temporary exhibitions highlight different aspects of railways, such as luxury travel, wartime trains, or the development of high-speed networks. The museum also hosts live demonstrations, where visitors can watch locomotives being steamed, coal being shoveled, or restoration work in progress. These behind-the-scenes experiences allow people to see the craftsmanship and dedication required to preserve railway history. Additionally, the museum offers cafes, gift shops, and rest areas, making it easy for visitors to spend a full day exploring. Accessibility is well considered, with ramps, lifts, and clear signage to ensure that everyone, including families and visitors with mobility challenges, can enjoy the experience. By combining historic interactive exhibits, hands-on learning, and sensory experiences, the National Railway Museum makes railway history tangible and memorable for all ages. Visitors leave not only with knowledge, but with a sense of connection to the people, technology, and stories of the railway. The National Railway Museum offers more than static displays. It provides visitors with unique opportunities to experience the living history of railways through special events and behind-the-scenes access. These programs bring the museum to life, showing that trains are not just machines, but symbols of innovation, craftsmanship, and cultural heritage. One of the highlights is the live steam demonstrations, where historic locomotives are brought to life. Visitors can see engines like the Flying Scotsman or Mallard being prepared for display or operation. Coal is shoveled, boilers are steamed, and the air fills with the distinctive hiss and whistle of a working steam engine. These demonstrations allow people to experience the power and scale of locomotives in a way that static exhibits cannot convey. The museum also runs restoration workshops, where trained engineers and volunteers carefully repair and maintain historic trains. Visitors can watch teams working on wheels, boilers, pistons, and carriages. This behind-the-scenes access shows the craftsmanship and engineering skill required to preserve locomotives that are sometimes more than 100 years old. It also highlights the dedication and passion of people committed to keeping railway history alive. Throughout the year, the museum hosts special events, such as steam-glass model railway exhibitions and themed family days. During these events, visitors can ride heritage trains, interact with costumed guides, and participate in educational activities. Some events even feature reenactments of historical railway scenes, giving a sense of how stations and engines operated in the past. For enthusiasts and scholars, the museum offers archival and research access. Rare documents, engineering drawings, photographs, and technical manuals are preserved and available for study. These collections tell the stories of railway innovation, industrial development, and the people who worked on the railways. Visitors can also participate in hands-on workshops, such as learning basic railway signaling, building miniature tracks, or understanding the mechanics of a steam engine. These interactive experiences make the museum engaging for all ages and encourage curiosity about engineering, science, and history. By combining restoration, live demonstrations, archival access, and special events, the museum ensures that railway heritage is not only preserved but actively shared with the public. It becomes a place where history is experienced, not just observed, allowing every visitor to connect with the power, beauty, and innovation of railways. Visiting the National Railway Museum in York is more than just seeing trains. It is stepping into a world where history, technology, and human stories intersect. From the first steam locomotives to modern high-speed trains, every exhibit tells a story of innovation, ambition, and the people who made it all possible. Walking through the Great Hall or Station Hall, standing beside the Mallard or or watching engineers restore historic engines, you gain a sense of the incredible scale, power, and precision of railway technology. You also begin to understand how railways shaped communities, economies, and lives across Britain and the world. The museum is a place for families, students, historians, and railway enthusiasts alike. It allows visitors to explore at their own pace, discover hidden details, and connect with stories from the past. Interactive exhibits, workshops, and live demonstrations make the experience engaging and memorable for all ages. If you enjoyed this journey, remember that the National Railway Museum offers something new every time you visit. Whether it's marveling at engineering feats, imagining life as a 19th-century railway worker, or simply appreciating the beauty of historic locomotives, there is always more to explore. Thank you for joining this tour of the National Railway Museum in York. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tell us in the comments which locomotive or exhibit fascinated you the most. Keep exploring, stay curious, and until next time, let the power of the railway inspire your journey.